coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairava Tantra. It is said transforming anger, 3 efforts. It is said one should neither suppress nor indulge in anger. Instead, one should remain passively alert and meditative. But it will need a sort of inner effort to avoid either suppression or indulgence. So the question remains, does this not mean suppression, indulgence? If you are using the inner effort to suppress or indulge, does it not mean that it is a sort of suppression? No, it is not. It is an effort, but not suppression in any way. I'll repeat the question. It is said that one should not indulge or suppress anger. Instead, one should remain passively alert or meditative. Passively alert and meditative. But this process will need inner effort. So the question remains, is this inner effort to be passively alert and meditative is to avoid suppression or indulgence? Is it not a sort of suppression? No, it is not suppression. Instead, it is an effort. There is a difference between effort and suppression. Every effort is not suppression. This you have to understand. Every effort is not suppression. There are 3 types of efforts. The first effort is suppress. The other is express. When you express your anger, it is an effort. Then the second type of effort is when you are suppressing it. If you are meditatively expressing anger, it is an effort. And when you are meditatively suppressing it, it is also an effort. When you express, what are you doing? When you express, what are you doing? You are trying to forcing your energy outward to the person, to the object. You are throwing out your energy and throwing out your energy. The other is the target. I had mentioned to you, a person came to Raman. He was asking the question how to have the inner transformation. Raman said, go within. He was, as normal human psychology is, asking the same question in different words. different angles. Raman got angry. He took the walking stick and chased the man out of the place. So this is an effort to express anger, and how it is done? You have to force your energy towards the person who is person or the object. When you express, what are you doing? You are forcing your energy towards the person who is the object. You are throwing out your energy and the other is the target. Energy moves to the other. Is it not an effort? When you suppress, it is the reversal process. In suppression, you return the energy back to its original source. In expression, it is moving outwards towards the object. And in suppression, it is returning back to its source, to your heart. You force it back. It is an effort. But the direction is different. In expression, the direction is outward. In suppression, the direction is inward. Both requires effort. Both requires passive alertness and meditativeness. In expression, energy moves away from you. In suppression, again it moves near you. Then there is a third possibility, third effort. The third effort, alertness, passive alertness, is also an effort, but the dimension is different. The energy moves not outward, not inward, but upwards. In the beginning, it is an effort. When I say passively alert and meditative, in the beginning, even passivity is bound to be an effort. Only by and by, as you become more and more acquainted with the process, will it be an effort? And when it is not an effort, it becomes even more passive. First, you are accustomed, you know the two directions. Energy moves outward towards the other. This is expression, moving outward, away from you. And in suppression, it is moving inward, towards its origin, towards the source. Both requires effort. If I ask you to act, you have to do an act of anger. Will it not be an effort? There is no cause for you to express anger, but you are asked to do a presentation of anger. So, how the anger is to be expressed? The hand movements, gestures, the eyes movement, expression of the face, and many other things which you are accustomed doing it, but you have never recorded your anger, expression of your anger. So expression is an effort. When you suppress it, you may be boiling, but when you are suppressing it consciously with a passive effort, energy is moving towards your center, towards the heart. These two things you know. The third possibility is also an effort, but the dimension, the direction is different. Energy moves neither outward nor inward. Instead, it moves upward. When energy is not the moving inward or outward, it can be an expression of downward movement. But when its direction changes, as happens when the water is put on into a pot on the fire, fire is lit under that, the ice that was melting and flowing outward from a higher altitude to the lower, it was a movement. In ice, it was happening on its own because of the little bit of heat or temperature, it was melting. But when you put ice in the pot and put the pot on the fire, first what will happen, it will melt, then there is no possibility of it moving downward. Instead, it will start moving upward. So in your case, this is an effort. The third possibility, the third thing is alertness, passive alertness. This is also an effort, but the direction, the dimension is different. It is moving upward. In the beginning, you have to make an effort. When I say passively alert, in the beginning, you have to be even passivity is bound to be an effort. Maybe you may have to make more effort. Only by and by, as you become more and more acquainted with it, with your passivity, then it will not be an effort. And when it is not an effort, it becomes even more passive. First, the passivity was an effort. As you get used to in it, the passivity becomes natural and spontaneous. And the more passive you are, what will happen? The more magnetic you become. It pulls the energy upward. In the beginning, it is an effort to be passive, but when you gain the momentum, and then it will become natural and spontaneous, the more passive you are, the more magnetic you become, the more magnetic. But in the beginning, everything is going to be an effort. So don't become a victim of words, because we are the mind and we take words for granted, and that is the only language we understand. But with the words, that the energy or the message that is flowing, our focus is never on that. It creates, when you are victim of words, it creates problems. Mystics have always been talking about effortlessness. They say don't make any effort. In the beginning, even this not making an effort becomes effort. When we say be effortless, we only mean do not force any effort. Do not force any effort. Let it be natural, but it will still be an effort. There is a difference between a forced effort and a spontaneous effort. Allow it to come through your awareness. When we say effortlessness, we only mean that you are not forcing any effort. Instead, you are letting it happen spontaneous and natural. And Natural or spontaneous effort comes through awareness. If you force it, you will become tense. If you become tense, anger cannot move upward. Tension is a horizontal process, moves along the surface. When the mind is tense, it is horizontal. When mind is not tensed, mind can be ever hovering like a cloud, floating in the sky. Look at the clouds. Are they making any effort to float in the sky? Just bring your witnessing in like a floating cloud. The clouds are floating in the sky. The birds are floating, there is no effort. It stretches its wings and floats. In the beginning, it is going to be an effort. That is where the pilot puts on the autopilot and the plane simply floats. But remember, only that is going to become, only that it is going to become effortless. You will be you will be forcing and allowing it more and more. This is difficult because the language that we have to use creates the problem. If I tell you relax, what will you do? You will ask immediately how to relax. You will make an effort, and by making an effort to relax, you will not be able to relax. But then I tell you, don't make any effort, because if you make any effort, that will create tension. Then you want to know how to relax. If I tell you to simply relax, then you are at a loss and you are bound to ask, then what do you mean? What should I do to relax? I am not going to make, if I am not going to make any effort, then what am I supposed to do? How am I going to be relaxed? Simple thing, I tell you, if you want to relax, do not do anything. You can place your palms onto your solar plexus, that much effort, and relaxation will happen on its own. Relaxation happens when your breathing becomes rhythmic. There is no effort. Effortlessly breathing is rhythmic and it goes to your solar plexus. You are not supposed to do anything. Placing the hand is not doing anything. You just rested your rest. You have to rest your hand somewhere. So you just rest it there and that's it. If you want to keep your eyes closed or open, but if you keep your eyes closed, you can become in a little while more indrawn. You will see what's happening within. You are not supposed to do anything, but in the beginning, non-doing looks like doing. Whether you are not doing anything or you're just placing your palms onto your solar plexus, it may be appear to be doing. So it is said that they make a little effort. That's why I said put your. If I ask you anything other than that, to watch your breathing, it is a slight effort. To some, it is easier to watch the breathing. When you are watching the birds, what it is happening? When you are stand up on the seashore or sit down, watch the waves arising on the surface of the ocean. What are the waves? Waves are the breathing of the ocean that happens on the surface of the ocean. Your breathing is the waving on the surface of the ocean, but both below the breathing and below the waves is vast ocean. Vast ocean. On the surface of the ocean where you are standing, you are seeing the waves arising. It is easier for you to connect that way. So it is kind of a doing, a slight effort. You are just watching the breathing, listening to the waves, sound of the waves. So we have created many kind of music for relaxation, waves, the sound of the waves. Then, because you cannot hear the sound of your waving, the breathing waving, it is so passive. So you do that, and in that, the waves arise on the surface of the ocean, breathing waves on the surface of the inner ocean, ocean of the being. So there is a lot of resemblance. The moment you are connected, you see the resemblance between the waves arising on the surface of the ocean and breathing, waving on the surface of the inner ocean. Sometimes in the inner ocean there is turmoil. Other times there is calmness. That is because of the tides. There is sometimes the sea is very calm. The other times it is turbulent. So the same way, the inner ocean, at times it is calm, other times it is turbulent. If you see the difference, if you understand this analogy, you will find it easy to enter into. So when you go to the ocean, by the sea, what are you doing? If you do not enter in the water, what are you doing? You have come to the ocean and you are not swimming. You are not going in the water. Maybe you may want to go into the water and feel you make a lot of efforts. When you come out, you are tired and you fall asleep and you feel relaxed and you say going to the ocean is very energetic. I will go to the ocean by the sea, find a quiet place, sit down, watch the waves rising, falling, moving to the shore, striking the shore and going back. After some time, you become aware that waves, the breathing is waving, reaching to the surface and going back. So waves arise on the surface of the outer ocean, which has its depth. Deep down there is no turmoil, there is tranquility. In the same way, on the surface of the inner ocean, there is turbulence, but deep within there is calmness. So you are descending into the depth. Deeper you move, you will find there is no turmoil. You are not supposed to do anything, but in the beginning it looks like doing a little effort, going to the ocean, finding a place, sitting down, and then trying to focus, but in between a thought comes in, you see something happening, you are directed towards that, and use it as a starter. Just in the beginning, you cannot understand non-doing, so you can only understand doing, and then from doing you can reach to a state when it becomes non-doing. You are driving a vehicle, you have to keep on pressing the accelerator, and then when you are on the slope, you do not keep your foot onto the accelerator. Instead, you release it from there, remove it and put it on the brakes. With the brakes, you are controlling the speed because it has been put into the auto gear. You cannot understand non-doing, you can only understand doing. So use the language of doing and action to reach the state of non-doing or non-action. Use effort in the beginning, start, and remember, the sooner you leave it behind, it is better. So you have moved from doing to non-doing, from effort to effortlessness. I have heard Mullah Nasruddin became very old and he became a victim of insomnia. He could not sleep. Everything was tired, hot baths he tried, tranquilizers and other things. Nothing was of any use or help. Nothing was helping. And the children were disturbed because Mullah was not able to sleep, and when he was not sleeping, he would not allow anyone to sleep. Every minute he will call this one or that one. So the whole night had become a nightmare for the entire family. They searched desperately for any method, any medicine that could help Mullah to sleep. Because the whole family was going crazy, he is calling in the night this one and that one, or this or that. Finally, they brought a hypnotist. The children became very happy, and they told Mullah, now you need not be worried. This is a miracle man. He creates sleep within minutes because he knows magic of it. So don't be worried. Now there is no fear. You can fall asleep. The hypnotist showed a watch with a chain to Mullah and said, Only a little faith will do the miracle. You need a little trust towards me. Just trust me, and you will fall asleep like a baby into deep sleep. Look at this watch. He started moving that watch left and right. Mullah looked at it, and the hypnotist said, left, right, right, left. Your eyes are moving, eyes are becoming tired, 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 left, right, left, right. You are falling asleep, asleep, asleep. Everyone was happy. Mullah's eyes were closed. The head moved down, and he felt like a small baby going into deep sleep. A very rhythmic breathing happened. The hypnotist took his face. He put his finger on his lips just to indicate the children not to disturb him now. Then he sneaked out. The moment he was out, Mullah opened his eyes and said, that nut, has he gone yet? Mullah said, as soon as the hypnotist sneaked out of the room, Mullah opened his eyes and he said, that nut, has he gone out? He was making an effort to relax. So he relaxed like a baby. He had started breathing rhythmically and closed his eyes. But it was all an effort. He was helping the hypnotist. He thought that he was helping the hypnotist, but it was an effort on his part. So nothing happened. He could not move from effort to effortlessness. Nothing could happen. He was awake. If he could have just been passive, it would have. If he had heard what was being said, looked at what was being shown, the sleep would have happened. You have to listen whatever it is saying. It is being said. No effort on his part was necessary. Only passivity. Passive acceptance was necessary. Passive acceptance. The hypnotist was saying something, so passive acceptance is necessary. You don't need any effort. But even for you to bring your mind to passive acceptance, in the beginning will need an effort. Many times I had to try to put someone to sleep, the same problem happens. So don't be afraid of an effort in the beginning. Start with effort. Just remember that effort has to be left behind, and you will move beyond the effort. Only when you have moved beyond the effort, the passivity will come in. And that passive awareness brings the miracle. So that's why it is passive awareness. But passive awareness comes through effort. In the beginning, you have to make an effort, then it happens on its own. With passive awareness, mind is no more. With passive awareness, mind is no more. For the first time, your inner center of being is revealed to you. You experience that. There is a reason. Effort is needed for everything that is to be done in the world. Outside world, you need effort. If you want to do something in the world, everything and effort is needed. But if you want to do something in the inner world, inner realm, no effort is needed. Just relaxation is needed. Non-doing is an art, just as doing is the art outside. Non-doing is an art within. Non-doing is the art there, just as doing is the art in the outer world. This passive alertness is the key. The passive alertness is the key. Do not become disturbed by the language when the words are spoken to you. Start with slight effort. Just keep in mind that you have to leave the effort. If you want to swim, then you need the effort. But while you have made enough effort, you lay yourself, stretch on the surface of the water and float. So you move from effort to effortlessness. So don't be disturbed by the language, by the words. Start with an effort. Just keep in mind that you have to leave the effort soon. You go on leaving it. In the beginning, moving from swimming to floating will take an effort. Even leaving the effort will be an effort. But a moment will come when everything has gone, all effort is gone, and you are just lay, stretch and floating. Then you are there, simply there, not doing anything. In floating, what you do? You're not doing anything with your eyes closed, you just floating in the direction of the current. Direction of the current. Then you are there, simply there is no doing at all, just being. You have moved from doing to the being. This beingness is samadhi. And all that is worth knowing, worth having, worth being, happens to you in that state. Relaxation happens when you are, if you continue to swim, you get so tired that you can't do anything, so you fall asleep. When you float, and just floating, you will be more energetic. You don't need to go into sleep or anything else. That floating itself will make you relaxed and energetic. So how many times we like to do, we when you ask, oh, I swim for almost an hour and I was tired, so I fell asleep. But if you sit down and watch the ocean waving and see the semblance between the breathing waving on the inner sky, onto the surface of the inner ocean, just as waves are raging, rising, falling, moving towards the ocean, towards the shore, going back to the center. It comes to the ocean, comes to the surface, it strikes the shore and goes back to the origin. And in going that, it merges with the ocean. Didn't you see it? Waves coming to the surface. Some waves do not reach to the surface. Those who strike in the process of going back to the ocean, going back to its source, they dissolve. So some breathing after striking the shore dissolves, some reach. So if you are floating when you go to the swimming pool or beach or anywhere, this is samadhi. And all that is, there is nothing more worth knowing, worth having, worth being happens to you in that state. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.